Are we live? There we are. Okay, we're live. Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn how Tracy Pollan saved family ties.
And in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody! Welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining me as always, Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how's it going? We're back from vacation.
Oh man! It's almost the end of the summer! Oh man! I feel like Daniel LaRusso going back to school and finding out that a hot blonde is going to make everything way better.
It always does. How was your summer, Paul? How'd you spend your summer?
Well, actually, by the time you're hearing this, I will be in deep rehearsals for a play at the New York Fringe Festival. So if you're in New York City, come see it. I'll be tweeting about it constantly. So if you're in New York City, come see it. It's called Walking on Sunshine.
Nice. Excellent. And Corey Pepper, how are you?
I'm just great. I'm great. The summer here in Los Angeles is very hot, and I've just been sweating for weeks on end, and I look forward to the cool weather of fall. Of course, we don't get fall in Los Angeles until November, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I heard on the ballot that they have an initiative to ban fall because of global warming. They're just getting rid of it.
Right, we're going to approve the legalization of marijuana and ban fall all at the same time.
Absolutely. The idea being we'll be high enough to not let the heat bother us so much.
Not bother us at all, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
It'll help in all elevator conversations where you're like, oh, how about what happened to fall? And if you just get rid of it, then no one will ever bring it up again.
And I know it's been like a month since it already happened, but I'm finding it very hard to get over the fact that Lin-Manuel Miranda is no longer in Hamilton. You too, Paul?
Yeah, Paul. Yeah, Paul.
I saw the video of the final curtain call where they start playing the theme from West Wing, which is his favorite TV show, which I find surprising because I thought every fucking thing in the history of ever was his favorite fucking thing in the history of ever. This is a man who cries at a Garfield cartoon.
Paul?
Yeah, Paul.
He's a genius.
He's a genius, Paul.
Get over it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've said my piece, and you've said yours, and we're just gonna have to live with each other for the next for the next 3 years.
For the next 3 years, as we complete the suicide pact that we have gotten into. Well, listeners, when last we left you, we were in the trenches. We have watched the biggest piece of shit movie ever, the Family Ties Vacation in London. If you did see the Family Ties Vacation in London, I apologize.
Yeah. I mean, I want to take us back because it was a deep, dark pit of despair that we were in, and it started very early on in season 3. But remember in the season finale, guys, where I said, "Hey, remember that I love Family Ties, and even though I'm raging against this thing," and then that was just the finale. Then we had the vacation episode film,
which made it worse.
And then our spirits were broken. But today, you guys, listeners, ladies, gentlemen, Family Ties did it.
Yep. When we're talking about Family Ties, this is what we're talking about. So, listeners, I want you to picture, out of the dark clouds, this bright ray of sunshine coming through, and Katrina and the Waves Walking on Sunshine starts playing. And that's how we're feeling right now, because we are starting Season 4, Episode 1, The Real Thing, Part 1. And man, is it good.
Oh, it's perfect. There is not one bad thing to say.
No. Which is going to make this a very hard episode for us to do.
No. This is gonna be Scrooge McDuck swimming through money good.
Corey, question?
Yes, gentlemen, I want you to put this in perspective. If you've been fed a steady diet of pebbles, rabbit poots, and eggplant, I personally hate eggplant.
Okay.
If that's
Wait,
your
Corey,
diet,
Eggplant is a genius. It was given the MacArthur Genius Award.
like Lin-Manuel Miranda,
Paul,
If
we're going to
that's
have to
your
disagree
steady diet.
about Lynn.
yes,
Yeah.
if that's your steady diet, then the minute someone hands you one tiny little rainbow-colored Skittle, you think this is the most delicious thing in the world. I just want to put it in perspective. I'm not entirely sold that we have turned the tide of Family Ties. And I'll tell you why. As much as I enjoyed this episode, and as much as I enjoyed Tracy Pollan, and as much as I enjoyed her relationship with Alex P. Keaton and the chemistry they obviously had with each other, they had to sacrifice something in this episode. And what they sacrificed was the family and Family Ties. There's practically no Jennifer and Mallory in this episode. There's more Andrew than there is Jennifer and Mallory in this episode.
I'll agree with you, Corey, but here's my thing, is that I think last season we had too much family, and it didn't work.
I agree.
We kept referencing. It's like, man, you got Alex out in college. You know, we haven't explored the world of some of the kids in this episode in the show pretty much. And so it's kind of nice to see kicking off this season, man, something a little different but still grounded.
I still think they need to, and that's why I'm reserving judgment, find some happy medium of involving specifically Stephen and Elise in these stories. Mm-hmm. And then, because they steered clear of, there's practically, I don't think there is any B-plot in this episode at all.
Yeah, there really isn't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, the only germ of the B-plot is Stephen and Elise taking care of themselves a little bit. I don't know. There's maybe that. But I just think that I still need to reserve judgment. I need to see how they introduce. So they introduced Ellen into this episode, and they introduced her really well by giving her pretty much all the time in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Alex all the time. I want to see what happens when they integrate a B-plot and Ellen, and they get the family involved in an Ellen plot. I want to see what happens when they do that. Then I'll be totally sold on Tracy Pollan as our savior, although in the meantime, I would like to nominate Tracy Pollan for the Quality Time with Family Ties Hall of Fame, which currently only has 3 guest stars in it, Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, and Talia Balsam. Tracy Pollan easily goes in after her first episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Without a question. She's fantastic on this episode.
And by the way, as good as Tracy Pollan was, I'll say that's as bad as Trisha was.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, she served her purpose.
She did.
I think she played the ditzy Cypher character well. I thought she was a good actor for doing that. I don't know. Do you think that she was a bad actor just generally?
Nah, I just thought that the way they used her was just sort of like, they used her in a very one-dimensional kind of way. Although, thankfully, there was the one scene where she was clearly braless and you could see the outline of her nipples. So I give her...
You could tell what religion she was seeing those things. You know what, Corey? You know what you're saying about the integrating Ellen Reed's character into Family Ties as we know it, which even then is an arguable thing to say.
Right.
Family Ties as we know it. But, yeah, you're kind of right in the sense that because it doesn't have a B-plot, it's almost like this is a film. This is a film about Alex meeting, because it doesn't follow any of the Family Ties plot structure, storytelling dynamics, anything like that. It's really just a short film, as it were. Mm-hmm. So that's a very good point to see how well they integrate her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I have a big suspicion that we might see a lot more episodes like this because Michael J. Fox is about to be a huge star. Back to the Future, has it come out yet, Paul?
It came out during the summer, so at this episode, he's on top of the world.
Yeah. And he kind of, Michael J. Fox seems, rejuvenated. He seems energetic. He's not working those long hours anymore. There was just something about his energy in this episode. He was just so on point.
Yeah, I'd love to see if it got a ratings bump in its first episode of season 4 because of the release of Back to the Future. If people now were coming to sample Family Ties because they got introduced to Michael J. Fox during Back to the Future.
That's true. Yeah, I tried to find some information about stuff, and I saw that it was on Thursdays, 8:30, right after the Cosby Show. It was the number 2 show in the country for this season. But I just don't know ratings episode by episode, that sort of. But I'm sure. So I just looked. Back to the Future came out July 3rd, 1985. So coming back, even people I'm sure watched the Family Ties vacation film. In hopes of seeing the charm of Michael J. Fox. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing. Yeah. Just something else I was looking at in the run-up. So the Family Ties Vacation came out on Monday the 23rd, and then the second part was on Tuesday the 24th. Then you had Wednesday off of Family Ties where you're like, what the fuck did I just watch? And then the Thursday is the season premiere, and it was this.
So they were really ODing America on Michael J. Fox, who had just become a huge box office star a month or 2 months before when Back to the Future came out.
Yeah.
Wow, he owned a week of television.
Totally. Yeah, that's true.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Here's something else I was thinking that's kind of amazing is we're in season 4, and it feels like out of these 3 seasons, maybe 2 or 3 episodes really set the standard for what you would want your series to be. 2 to 3 really great episodes, I would say. And we're already into season 4. It's just astonishing that you wouldn't get this amount of time for a comedy to have it established today. Mm-hmm. It's just crazy. It's still kind of feeling its way around stuff. And it's just nuts that we've, out of 3 seasons, only a handful of episodes really are that's what every show needs to be like.
Right. Yeah, I just looked, and Teen Wolf, which was made before Back to the Future, it was the low budget, it was the first, starring role that Michael J. Fox had. And because of the success of Back to the Future, they rushed a release and tried to capitalize on how successful and famous Michael J. Fox was. It came out on August 23rd, 1985. So you had July Back to the Future, then you had the rush job of getting Teen Wolf out, and then you had season 4. So this 2-month period is just a roller coaster of Michael J. Fox success.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. All right, well, let's jump into it, all right? Listeners, if you're playing along at home, we are on Season 4, Episode 1, The Real Thing, Part 1, in which we're going to meet Alex's love, Ellen. But we start off with a cold open. They just, every now and then, they feel like doing a cold opening. And this, yeah. Andrew is much bigger now. And it's this whole scene in the kitchen of who gets to spend time with Andrew. Elise is coming in to feed him. Jennifer wants to spend some time with him before he goes to school. Steven comes in, wants to read Andrew a book before he goes to work. Alex and Mallory are fighting over who gets to spend time, and Alex is saying, it's my sophomore year at college. They make a very big point of stating that. And I want to spend some time with my little brother before I go off to school. And it's just everyone clamoring around Andrew.
Really like Mallory's new haircut.
I do too. Yeah.
And they dressed her real clean, too, this time. No more Little House on the Prairie. They're letting her grow up a little bit. She was dressed nice. Now, that having been said about Mallory, let's discuss Jennifer's mullet.
Woo! Where to begin? Probably the party in the back, I would think.
Start with the party in the back. Yeah, start with that.
I'm telling you, wow. All I can say is, Tina Yothers, if she owns the box set, she's definitely lost seasons 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? You can't fault someone for having a bad puberty.
No.
You just never know. It's a Russian roulette.
Absolutely. Having the fact that Logan is 14 right now, and sometimes I see one of his friends and I go, oh my God, like what kind of show is this? And now it's like, wow, your face grew in all kinds of weird, non-dimensional ways. Even your skin is broken out in weird spots. It's just a shit show sometimes when you're a teenager. So I'm not blaming. That's why I want to be particularly kind to Tina Yothers and just go, it's just unfortunate that her awkward phase got broadcast to the nation every Thursday night.
Oh, hell yeah. Absolutely.
It's rough.
Yeah, that Andy really. I think that was the smartest move that Gary David Goldberg made. It was like, we got to get on top of this. We got to get a kid in here now.
Yeah, because she's getting. We also have a new opening credit sequence. We don't have the painting anymore. It's family photos.
Yeah.
Everyone. It just took me back to like all those bad Sears photos that. I know my parents would make us go get like every couple years. Or like your high school yearbook photo where you had to go in and pose and everything. They all look so awkward.
Yeah, they do. New shots of Andy, baby Andy, that are used, I think, from this episode. They were like, we got to get new stuff for the opening credits, so they just took stuff from this particular episode.
And inserted it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we get to the whole theme of the whole plot of our episode is Alex comes in after his first day of being a sophomore in college singing "Love is a Mini Splendor Thing," and Steven chimes in. I really like this bit. They both committed to it so well. It was great.
And lest we ever forget, with all of the talents that Michael J. Fox has, singing, not one of them.
Nope.
No. Yeah, and and Alex is excited because it's spring. He's back on campus.
It's fall. It's fall before they ban.
Yes, exactly. Sorry, the song got me. Yeah, confused. We don't have seasons here. And so. He's doing something that we have seen him do before, which is taking a yearbook or I guess in this case it's a new freshman guide or directory, and picking out girls that he is attracted to and wants to meet. We've seen him do this before with, I believe, Prom, where he went through the yearbook to pick out girls. So this is like, I kind of appreciate the fact it's like, oh, this is something Alex does.
Yeah. Now, is a freshman directory a real thing?
I don't remember one.
I've never seen one.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's in the era of pre-Facebook stalking or social media stalking. I guess this is the best you're gonna do in 1985.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Elise does put on her best women's rights face when she hears this, and thankfully she doesn't approve of it. So at least you get the PC. This really isn't a very nice way to meet women. This isn't very respectful. This isn't. And then they all just ignore that. They put that line in, and then they ignore it.
Yeah, that's the most 1985 of all of the things in this episode. It's just like she says something, they're like, bah, 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 and then over here. But,
okay, enough of you. Thanks.
Right.
Michael J. Fox hard in the neck. Did you see that?
No, I missed it.
When he goes over to get the orange juice with Mom?
He says, "Oh, surely you know what it's like to be young and in love." And then he goes, "Or at least in love." And then she towel snaps him in the neck.
Yeah.
That was intense. That was
I did see that, and I did think to myself exactly, Paul. I did think to myself that didn't go exactly like they had rehearsed it. You could tell that there was something that was very improvisational in that moment, where she hit him in a place where she really didn't mean to hit him.
Right.
But it was clear that went on. It was sort of comical.
Yeah. Now, Corey, maybe Scott too. Did you ever hear about back when the show was on that there were like tensions between Meredith Baxter and Michael J. Fox?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay. It was just that
Were there?
I think that he was getting a little bit, snotty and top of the world 24-year-old type thing, and that the show had gone away obviously from being Stephen and Elise show to Michael J. Fox show, and that I think backstage there was always these rumors that they were fighting.
Never heard it.
Okay.
It's interesting you bring that up, Paul, because I remember an interview with Tracy Pollan where they asked her, like, what did you think of Michael J. Fox when you first met him? And she kind of said something along the same lines, like, he was a little full of himself. He was a little kind of snotty when I first, my first impression of him was, So I can kind of believe that a little bit. And, to his defense, you're 24, you have a huge movie, a huge TV show. That's definitely going to go to your head as a 24-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So Alex has picked out like 7 girls in this directory, and one in particular, this girl Trisha, that he's planning on meeting. He's going to go to her dorm and say he's from the sophomore welcoming committee, and use that as to get to know her, meet her, go out on a date with her.
I mean, we don't even know that this directory is real, so arguably, the sophomore welcoming committee could be just as real.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. We'll buy into it.
The weirdest part of this is the end of the scene where he starts telling his dad, he's like, so here's my plan. I'm going to go, and then they do this cross dissolve for no reason. That was weird.
I thought it was really weird. I had to go back and look at it again. I thought I had taken my eyes off the screen to write a note, and when I came back, it was in a different scene, and I thought, how'd that happen? What did I miss? And then I went back and realized, oh no, they just did something really weird.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it in 4 years. And now all of a sudden it was like, we faded out of a scene into another one? Okay,
yeah.
I'll go with
it. I think this episode was directed by George Lucas. Like, he'd finished Return of the Jedi, so he started doing wipes across the screen.
And so we have. I mean, obviously the money is good at Family Ties. We have a new set. It's a full dorm room, the outside of the dorm and the inside of the dorm room. And Alex knocks on the door, and answering the door is Ellen Reed. Catch your breath, Paul. Catch your breath.
Typical TV thing on Tracy Pollan. Let's slap some glasses on her, and they won't realize that she's pretty.
Right.
Yeah.
She's so gross. She has glasses in a ponytail.
Wait, if she just took them off.
Glasses, bangs, and a ponytail. The classic ugly girl.
Now wait a second, you guys. I have to say, every time Tracy Pollan was on screen, my heart was skipping a beat.
She's amazing.
So gorgeous. I'm in love with Tracy Pollan. I don't know what my favorite outfit was. I was just like agog. I was agog.
Well, she commands the screen. She's very forceful in her personality. She's very charismatic, much more so than everybody else in this episode. Except Michael J. Fox. She just really. I just thought that she really was. I couldn't take my eyes off of her. I thought she was just terrific, and she was interesting. Even when doing nothing, she was interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's what's amazing about her.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, here's what... Oh, am I back?
Yeah, just start again what you were about to say.
Sure. And picking up. Yeah, and Corey, here's what's amazing about her, too, is that we just talked about how, huge Michael J. Fox is becoming and what a big star he is, and here she is, a relative newcomer, and she goes toe to toe with him.
Absolutely.
She makes such great choices. She owns her character from the minute she comes on screen. She's amazing. You get this character. She establishes it right off the bat. And Paul, to answer your question, obviously the overalls are the best one.
Oh, you know what though? The blue sweater make her eyes pop so. Oh,
I like the blue sweater too.
Yeah, I like that too. I liked it too.
But that's the thing. It's tough to choose. The overalls are amazing, and I just don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what? Here's the thing. Watching this episode, I was quoting every line of dialogue. I could really. I've seen this so many times.
Wow. Wow.
Oh. Here's the thing. We just got a tweet from Dana. It says, "That's the biggest dorm room I've ever seen, next to Lord Williams, of course."
Thank you, Dana. You are correct.
Absolutely, I have that down too. What colleges are these people attending? Have they never seen a dorm room before? Mine was about 6 feet of cinder block on every side, and if you stood on one side of and you could touch one wall, I'm not a big man. I could pretty much touch both walls of my dorm room.
Yeah,
Corey, that's prison. You're thinking about prison.
The dorm room looked more like a real dorm room. Looked more like that hallway than it did the room.
Yes, it did. There was also some douchebag in the hallway who seemed to be walking around in a jacket and tie like Michael J. Fox for some reason. He came into the room later too.
Oh, yeah.
There was the guy who one line. He was like wearing a corduroy jacket and he looked like he was like a linebacker.
Jack.
Okay.
He's here. No, listen. He's my favorite character in the whole thing. He brings this level of absurdism that I love in Family Ties, and we'll talk about him more in a little bit. He's insane.
So Alex goes in the dorm room. Obviously, Ellen is not Trish, and so Ellen's already. What I loved was Paul's holding up a sign that says "I love Ellen Reed,"
and then three big hearts.
3 big hearts.
Look at that, hearts.
And Ellen's already kind of giving him some attitude, which is great. Like, she's like, I know you. I know what you're here to do. I know why you're doing it. I know exactly what kind of person you are. And yeah, you'll do great with Trish because you're her type.
Oh, and you know what type that is. You've got me all figured out. See what I'm doing?
I'm acting it out. Yeah. Yes, she does. Yeah. But you're an economics major. You're on the debate team.
Ellen's sitting there, and she's painting a picture, right?
Yes.
She's working on something. And Alex, first of all, who picks up an apple, even if there's a bowl of fruit somewhere? Who picks something up out of a bowl of fruit and eats it with that? And I know it's there for people to eat, but still doesn't one go, may I have an apple? I have an apple.
Yeah.
And then if you do have an apple, I'm not the classiest person in the world, but the one thing I do know is you don't put a half-eaten apple back into the bowl. The only complaint that Ellen Reed had wasn't that he took an apple without asking, wasn't that he put a half-eaten apple back into the bowl, was that, can't you see that I'm painting this apple?
Yeah.
That just didn't make very much sense to me. It's like, you don't want to comment on the other two things that I would comment on? You just want to comment on, can't you see I'm painting this? Turn it around. You can still paint. Don't worry, it's abstract.
Right. You'll make it work. Yeah, that was kind of weird. She's painting. It looks like she's supposed to be painting still life. She's doing abstracts. So it's like, why necessarily do you need
you don't need
life in front of you?
It makes no sense.
Yeah. But do they get in a fight? Yelling back and forth.
She says that Alex is an economics major, and that stops him cold. And then she goes, you voted for Reagan, you're in the debate club and the Young Executives Club, and you wear a jacket and tie everywhere you go. Now, here's the thing. In this episode, Michael J. Fox is doing a lot of tieography.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's a lot of this happening. It's, when he doesn't have orange juice, Michael J. Fox is now Rodney Dangerfield.
Yeah. Hey, I don't have an OJ. I got.
Yeah, and as they're arguing, Trish comes in, and Alex turns around and goes, "Alex P. Keaton, sophomore welcoming committee."
Yeah, it's a great act out. It's a great act out line.
Yep.
Or scene ending, because it's not the end. It's not commercial yet. But yeah, he's like yelling at Ellen, then he just turns on a dime, and he's like, "Alex P. Keaton." It's great.
It's great.
And that's the thing in this episode too. First of all, what's amazing about it is it lays down the story in each scene. This leads to this, which leads to this, which leads to this, and then they use so many great jokes, and the jokes are tied into the personalities and the things that we know about these characters already. It's all very organically done. It feels like an entirely different show than last season.
Absolutely. And so then, okay, so Alex is back. We're back in the kitchen?
Yes, he just got home from school.
Just got home from school. Is this where they're getting ready to go jogging?
No,
Yes.
not yet. No, this is where...
Oh, no, that's the next act. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he got home late for dinner, and he doesn't want any because he had already gone to dinner and a movie with Trisha after meeting her. And then he's talking to Mom about Ellen, and Mom is eating ice cream.
That's how you know it's like a serious conversation. When Elise eats ice cream, things really need to be discussed.
Yeah, and ice cream is something that we've talked about in the past, but haven't paid as close attention to as I guess we should have. There seems to be when things are emotionally taxing.
A bowl of ice cream seems to always be the calming sedative that the Keatons need. But they always do it in a weird way. Notice she had 2 bowls and 2 spoons, but then sits down and eats her ice cream. It seemed like she was getting ice cream for her and Steven.
Yeah.
So Steven is up cleaning the barf of Andrew up somewhere, and he never gets his fucking ice cream because she sits there with Alex, eating her ice cream, talking to Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in this conversation, and doesn't offer any to Alex. Oh wait, but Alex already said he wasn't hungry, so I guess that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. But Alex talks to Elise about Ellen, this girl Ellen Reed, and how she's just he's kind of frustrated with her. It's kind of like that. I like her. I'm frustrated that I like her kind of attitude, and that we got nothing in common, and she already gives me attitude the moment I come into the room.
Mm-hmm. And it's weird because the only complaint you could make about this episode is that the transitions from scenes are kind of weird at times.
Mm-hmm.
Like that dissolve we talked about earlier. Here, this is the commercial act out.
And it's very weird, too.
Yeah. Yep. It's very weird because it's like
just kind of
a soap opera where it's an internal acknowledgement, and that is it's like the heightened of being like, so this is the secret that we've been waiting to tell you about your stepbrother, and then it gets to a close up and they just go, and then commercial.
You're exactly
right. I had to go backwards and think, this is the act out? This is the end of the act? It was kind of soft. It was sort of like a wet fart. It was just sort of like something that was just there.
Very soft, like a wet fart.
Yeah.
I was expecting for it to be a fart, and it ended up being a wet fart, and that sort of surprised me.
And when you have a wet fart, you're gonna have to clean it up, and then Elise is not gonna give you your ice cream. So with that, let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back. Oh man, this episode, you guys, I love it so much.
I was
so
good.
Out while watching.
So good.
All right, you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we're back. So, we're doing what Alex loves to do, is tutor a dumb girl.
It's his thing. He's over in the dorm room tutoring Trish. And we find out, through this conversation, we find out a couple things. We find out Ellen has a boyfriend. Not only does she have a boyfriend, but they are looking to get married. They're not engaged yet, but there's talk of marriage.
Well, this is where things get a little hairy.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Corey. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, here's a slight problem. This is a TV thing. I'm going to compare it. So you go and see a movie, right? And special billing on the movie, everybody, you know who the stars of the movie are. But then as special billing, you get and also starring Samuel L. Jackson at the very end. Mm-hmm. And now you're watching the movie and you're wondering, who's the bad guy? Well, trust me, kids, if Samuel L. Jackson is in the movie and he has special billing and he's not one of the main stars of the movie, you can bet your testicles he's the bad guy. Now, here's the TV equivalent of it. She has a boyfriend. She wants to marry him. We never meet him. If we never meet him, it's not a real relationship if we don't meet him. The reason why you don't ever want to meet him is if we met him, we would then have to give him a reason for her to break up with him. You understand? What I'm saying is you'd have to make him into a bad guy somehow or another. Because she's a bad person if she just breaks up with him to go with Michael J. Fox. That makes her the bad person. You don't want to make the character that your lead is falling in love with into a bad person. So you have to make the other person, the person who we've never met, the bad person, which is where I think we'll end up going somewhere. My question is, Paul, do we meet him in the second episode?
We do not.
Okay. That they keep him away from us so that they can break them up at some point.
Right. It's keeping him an abstraction so that way he'll be just an obstacle.
Right.
It's like stormtroopers in Star Wars. It's like you never see their face because they are not human. They are just an obstacle.
It's a plot device.
Yeah.
Right.
But here's what's crazy about Dennis, the senior psych major at Franklin Marshall in Lancaster, PA, is he's a senior, which means he's like 22, let's say. Ellen is 18, let's say, and a freshman at Leland, and they are boyfriend and girlfriend because that's what they say. They don't say fiancé. And they're planning on getting married because Dennis wants to get married. When did they start dating? How old was she, and how old was he?
And are there statutory laws in either Pennsylvania or Ohio?
I don't know. But, those are some odd things that I was just like, oh, I never thought about that. But, yeah, this Dennis, maybe he is the villain that you're talking about, Corey.
Maybe.
I thought Tracy Pollan's handling of the shelf shtick was very good. I thought she comedically handled it very well. She kept it real. I love the fact that she kept on reaching her foot out to try and get that bracket without asking him to get it.
Yes.
That it had flown so far behind her that she could, holding the shelf and trying. So physically it looked really funny.
Mm-hmm. Oh, also, before she comes in to do that whole business, this is the scene where when Trisha is there studying, this is the nipple scene.
This is.
Yeah.
And so that's a great thing. And and what was the other thing? Oh, the way that we get rid of Trisha in the scene is that this is the first time Jack, the guy that you were talking about, Corey, says that there's a call for her.
That was
he's really flirty in front of Alex, her ostensible boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't understand the logic. Like, okay, so there's no phone in the dorm room.
Oh, that was a real
thing. The dorm rooms don't get a... Was that a real thing?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have phones in my dorm room. I had to go downstairs. In the lobby of my dorm, there were about 6 phone booths in the lobby of my dorm. And so you had to stand in line or wait for one of the phone booths.
Again, just like prison.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, the cinder blocks and the payphones.
Yeah.
But yeah, that people would call a dorm and then ask for someone, and then you would if you were walking by the payphone, you'd pick up and then go run to the room that they were in, I think.
Yeah, room 403. You'd have to go upstairs and help somebody.
Yeah.
Or just walk past the phone booth and ignore it, which is what I did most of the time.
Yeah. You don't want to get involved.
But
so yeah, you're right.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just saying, back to what Corey was talking about with the physical comedy and stuff like that. The two of them. So she's holding up the thing, and then Alex, just the most shit-eating grin of, "Do you need any help?" I love that. And then he helps her, and as he's trying to hold it up, they're inches away from each other. I was screaming while watching this. I was literally screaming that I was so happy at this sexual tension.
Oh, sparks flying. It's awesome. It is so great.
Oh, so Dana just tweeted us. She goes to Franklin and Marshall, and there are still phone booths in the college center at F&M and in the dorm common areas. Oh,
wow.
Man. That's impressive.
Wow.
They take a field trip there in the history classes.
Right.
And
everyone's back in the 80s.
Yeah, with their cell phones, and they take pictures of the phone booth.
Right.
And so after I believe it's right after the shelf bit, Alex looks at some of her paintings and is impressed. Even saying, this could be a real painting. It's just it is a real painting. Yeah. And he notices a sketch of a guy, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's just a friend of mine. Oh yeah, your boyfriend Dennis."
Yeah, you can. So this is the first time that we're getting the idea that Ellen has the hots for Alex because she is downplaying this serious relationship.
Yeah, she doesn't say, "Hey, that's a sketch I did of my boyfriend."
No, that's my friend.
That's my friend. And it's weird because then it goes to, yeah, we'll probably get married, maybe get married. To jump from, hey, sugarcoating it oh, it's my friend, to yeah, I'll probably get married to this person. It was a little strange.
So if I run into a pretty girl who I know from work or is one of my students, one of my adult students, and I'm with Susanna, I shouldn't introduce her as my friend, Susanna?
Right. Or start singing, this is my friend old Susanna, and then just start singing Stephen Foster.
I had a friend who got married so many times that he would introduce me to his new girlfriend as the future ex Mrs. Fred Farrer. That's how he said, I'm not going to tell you her name because I don't know if I'll see her again, but just think of her as the future ex Mrs. Fred Farrer.
That's amazing.
I had a rule with him that if I met one of his girls twice in a row, then I'd ask her name and find out what her name is.
Wow.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right, Paul. This is the scene where we see how much Ellen likes Alex.
Yeah. And Corey, what you were saying about Dennis being not seen, I forgot about the drawing. We see a drawing of Dennis, and he's pretty fugly.
He is. Yeah. According to the drawing, he is pretty fugly.
Yeah.
Well, and we can attest that to Ellen's art skills because apparently she's a very good artist. Alex is impressed by her.
Yeah.
So yeah, we cut to the kitchen, and this is where Trish is over to try on some dresses for the dance coming up at Alex's place. Ellen dropped Trish off. She has some dresses she's going to try on. She goes off with Mallory and Jennifer to get some opinions. And we also have Stephen and Elise getting ready to go jogging.
in their short shorts.
Woo!
Shorts.
Legs for days. This episode has everything. It has nipples. It has long legs. It has Ellen just being gorgeous. It has Alex B. Keaton with his tie. It's amazing.
For a second, like when Steven walks in and while Alex is talking to Trish, for a second it's like, did Steven just walk in his boxer briefs? Did they have that on? Then I realized that they were jogging shorts. That's how short they were. And so, yeah, so Steven and Elise go off jogging. There's a little funny bit of them being competitive about who wins. And Ellen arrives to pick up Trish.
Mm-hmm.
Which again,
now, when Ellen comes in, and first, like, Steven talks to Alex about, like, the exact science that Alex has boiled down love to being.
Yeah.
He found a picture of his love, sought her out, and now they're in love. And he's like, well, it's not an exact science, blah, 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 blah. And so when Ellen comes in and Steven leaves, Alex grabs orange juice because he's so hot and bothered, and he has no equilibrium. And he's just like, I don't know, I need an anchor. I need something to bring me back to normal level because I'm so happy right now and I don't know what to do with it. He grabs orange juice. And I thought this was the most cathartic orange juice that we've ever seen.
I'll give you that, Paul. I agree.
No.
I agree. And I love how Steven Leeson is like, Alex, all I can tell you is good luck.
Yep. And this is the blue sweater.
Mm-hmm. Your favorite outfit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he's playing with Andrew, and this pleases Ellen because she sees how good he is with kids.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely a turn on.
That was definitely something that I thought was really well structured to give her that moment, and they got good stuff with Alex and Andrew, and that becomes very charming to her.
Yes. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah. This whole scene is filled with good moments. I love Alex gives Ellen this painting that he thinks is a Picasso.
I was swooning. At this point, I was swooning.
Yeah.
I like the way she played it, too. I thought she played it, it's like, how do you put someone down for being stupid who's pretty smart?
Yes.
You have to do it in a sort of softer way than in sort of, you can't really come at it with like Chandler Bing sarcasm, because that's too cruel if you're interested in the person.
Yeah.
So you've got to sort of soft soap it in a way. And I thought she was delightful. I thought she was so cute with, it's a Picardo.
She was so cute. So
you have to admit, he is good.
Yeah. And who doesn't enjoy a velour painting?
Yeah, right. Yes. But like he's apologizing, and she's like, no, stop it. And then she's like, and then she goes, just shut up. And then she gives him a kiss on the cheek. A kiss on the cheek.
It's so great. It's so great. Just the tension that builds up. Their chemistry is so great. Just the back and forth. No, it was really sweet. No, it was no big deal. It's played so well, and it builds up to that. She can't help but kiss him on the cheek.
Yeah.
And then we have the counterpoint of the little kiss on the cheek that he gets from Ellen, and in a few moments he gets the big kiss that's sort of that we don't want. When you're an audience and you want the kiss with Ellen. So at this point, they set it up just perfectly so that at that point he gets the big kiss from Trisha, but we as the audience go, no, we don't want this to happen.
Yeah. You know what? I'm thinking, now that we're talking about it in such detail, I think this scene may be the best scene of Family Ties yet.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the...
that kitchen scene, I thought, was really good. It was.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it works. It's so good. It's just a great scene, and it's all because the writing's great, but man, do Tracy Pollan and Michael J. Fox make this work. You can see why they fell in love. Like, it's just, the scene is just so good. Yeah, you're right, Corey. So Trish comes in, she's ready to go, and leaves, giving Alex this big smooch that leaves us all heartbroken.
Mm-hmm.
And a great cut to Tracy Pollan observing it, and she again plays it so smartly. It's just a slight longing, but like, well, I guess this is the way things are. I have a boyfriend, but it's just perfect. And so we also find out Ellen is going to be working the refreshment table too, because that comes into play in our next scene at the dance.
I mean, she says, yeah, to make some extra money, I'm going to be serving drinks at the dance, so come on over and visit if you get bored. And it's dripping with so much longing, the way that she says it. It was heartbreaking. Oh, I'm smiling. I love it.
It's so good. Yeah, and I think, Paul, they may have gotten better music rights at this point on Family Ties, because the saxophone song that they're dancing to at the beginning seems to be the saxophone part of the Wham song Never Gonna Dance Again.
Careless Whisper?
Careless Whispers.
I couldn't pin that down. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I think it is.
That's amazing. Yeah, that could be the case. But now we're getting to we're at the dance.
Sorry, Henry walked in.
No. Okay. Anyway,
what do you want, bud? You want to say hi? I'll find you guys. He's missing a toy.
Oh no.
We're fine. But
we're at the dance. Alex is dancing with Trisha. The song ends, and let's start talking about "At This Moment" by Billy Vera and the Beaters.
Oh, such a great song. Oh, I love this. This was, Paul, I think you probably feel the same way about this too, is as a kid listening to this song, seeing it on Family Ties, because it's played again, this was like the definition of romance as a kid that I saw. Like, this is what romance is.
Yes, all love should be depressing. All
longing. It was it's such a good song. Billy and the Veers actually played at a restaurant here in Studio City. Corey? You probably know it. The place where Robert Blake shot that lady. Vitello's. They have live music, and Billy and the Veers. I so wanted to go, but Billy Vera and the Beaters were on the calendar.
Let's hope they weren't there that night.
No, this was long after that.
That Robert Blake was listening to that song, and he was just like,
"That's it. I can't take it."
So what's crazy about the song "At This Moment" is that it was released in 1981 and did nothing. It wasn't, but somehow the writers for this episode, or Gary David Goldberg, or someone with Family Ties, found it, which is crazy in the era before the internet, that finding a song is just such a weird occurrence. Like, you have to actively search, or it falls into your lap or something. And so it became such a hit because it was used in this episode and further Family Ties episodes. It became the #1 pop contemporary hit in 1987. And so, after the dance with Trisha, Alex and she are talking, and this is where Jack comes in, and he says this line that is so good, I wrote it down in completion. Hey, it's 10 o'clock. They're showing a tape of last week's pep rally up in the lounge. So let's go through that, shall we? Hey, it's 10 o'clock. This party has been going on for a long time. They're showing a tape, mind you, so they're watching something that they've all seen.
On video.
Of last week's, not even this week's. So this is old news of last week's pep rally. So you're watching a tape of a week before's thing where they're just shouting cheers. Who wants to watch that?
What footage is this? It's so weird. It's so weird.
Why didn't he simply come in and say, "Hey, Trish, you need to leave the room now so that we can continue with the plot. with Ellen and Alex. Could you just go away for a few minutes? Thanks.
It was such a weird way to get out of that. It's so strange.
Honestly, that would have been amazing if Jack just looked at the camera and said, "Trisha, we need to go now," so that way the plot can continue. It would be amazing.
That would be brilliant. But we do get Ellen and Alex alone. And he kind of he's like, come on, just dance with me, just dance with me. She finally gives in. They dance to Billy Vera and the Beaters. Oh, it's so romantic. And then Alex leans in and they have a kiss. They have their first kiss. And Ellen runs away.
It was a ravenous kiss. It was ravenous. They were kissing with every ounce of their being.
Oh, there was passion.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Alex had trouble running after her because he was just like, "Oh, where's my trapper keeper? I need to, you know."
Yeah, all he could say was, "I slipped."
Yeah.
And then Trish comes back down, and we find out that Ellen agreed to marry Dennis.
Devastating news.
Yes.
I mean, it's really heartbreaking stuff. I feel like the only way I could express how heartbroken I was is to start singing. What did you think I would do at this moment? You know what's interesting about that song is that he says that he would subtract 20 years from his life. Like,
that's for killing you.
Why would you want to die earlier if you're with the woman that you love? You're like, I would donate my kidneys and live some less time if we fucked.
That was the first draft of the Billy the song. They're like, Billy, can we make it a little bit more romantic, kind of?
Yeah.
I can't wait for part 2. That's how we end. What's going to happen?
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. Corey, do you have any predictions?
I don't. I'm actually sort of interested to see how they manipulate this back to, clearly she's got to break up with the boyfriend. I'm just wondering how they do that.
Yeah, yeah.
Tune in next week, listeners, and we're going to find out. All right, but in the meantime, rate and review our show on iTunes. And for questions and comments, email us at qualitytimewithfamilyties@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, too, at QTWFT for updates. We're all on Twitter, too. You can follow me at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
I'm at Corpep.
And be sure to like us on Facebook. We'd like to thank our host and producer, Barbara Dillon, at Fanbase Press. Fanbase Press is a comic book publisher and online community supporting other creators and fans through daily reviews, interviews, and podcasts that span the pop culture spectrum. Be sure to check them out at fanbasepress.com. We also like to thank Perry Adams, who beautifully performs the Family Ties theme song Without Us. Check out Perry's website at perryadams.com. Also, we'd like to thank Brian Dillon, who created our fantastic drawing and artwork, as well as edits our show. Brian is the president and co-founder of Fanbase Press, so follow him on Twitter at Comic Book Slayer. And lastly, Sean Foster, Fanbase Press's graphic designer, who designed our logo. Thank you, everybody, and we will see you next week.
Bye. Hashtag Team Alex.
Hashtag Lynn_Miranda. I'm going to go watch...
We love you, Len.
Bye.